Yeah. When you got into business, and a lot of people usually when they start a business, they're like, okay, I don't know where to begin, or I don't have the funds to do so. Like you said, you were mowing lawns and you were just doing side gigs essentially to help create the funds to essentially start your own business, right? What is your advice for anyone who wants to start a business and they really don't know where to begin? Like, should they start with money? Should they start with education? Where do you think they should start?
Yeah, I would say you can get so much for free nowadays. That wasn't really the case back then. I'd say the value of paying for education is more the relationship and like being able to ask specific questions. Like I still spend money on education like regularly. It just gets harder to find people the further you go because there's less people further ahead of you and it gets a heck of a lot more expensive. So, there's value in that at times. I think there is a lot of great information out there for free. But you got to try stuff. Like I see a lot of people decide to not start something because they're like, well, I don't know if that's the thing that's gonna be what I want to do forever. It's like, dude, who cares? Just like do something, pivot later, like just go with the flow and try stuff. It doesn't have to cost much money to start something. Like, yeah, I was, losing a few $1,000s here or there when I was trying e-commerce. Like it wasn't like I saved up 12 grand and then blew it all and had to save up again. Like it was still smaller in the grand scheme of things, and I was just able to hustle up 500 to $1,000 a month as a young teen and just figured it out. So, it wasn't much on that side. And there's a lot of other nuances to the story of like how we actually got the business entity open. I know you know that, like
Yeah.
had to convince my grandpa to open the business and what that led to. And so there was different loopholes and things that I had to go through that others didn't. But like I don't think you need a ton of money. It just depends on what you're trying to do.
When you were like you mentioned how, your grandpa helped you start the business and everything, is when you were going through that process, like you dropped out of high school and you're trying to convince your grandpa to start this business for you, was there much convincing or was he like he had full 100% faith, like, okay, I know Hayden is going to do something?
He was all in. He was my biggest supporter for sure. And I want to make it clear on the timeline, like he was always very supportive. At 16, I basically had him co-sign. It wasn't even an LLC, it was an EIN, just so I could get the business number so that I could open a bank account to have a debit card. I just needed a place for money to flow and to be able to pay for whatever couple of softwares I needed. And I wasn't able to get that from my parents. And so I just went to him. I said, I'll buy you whatever car you want once I make a lot of money. And I just need this. And he was absolutely down for it. I can't imagine he even knew how to log in and check the bank account. Funny story, that bank account is actually still open. Like I still use that as some random personal account, but it worked out well. So I want to make it clear, like he started that. I was able to get the business going. I didn't officially drop out of school until things had been going well for like a little while. So it wasn't like I dropped out to start something. I think a lot of people try to do that. They're like, well, school's in the way or my job's in the way or whatever. It's like, dude, you got to be able to do it. And school was like 7 hours a day of my time, and I could spend the other 7, 8, 9, 10 hours just working. So, yeah, I dropped out after.